All these old electric clocks, these are awesome. I'll take all of them.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Good morning, everybody. I am George the Antique Nomad, and in this foggy darkness behind me is Highway 25. You hear American pickers talk a lot about freestyling and finding their road, and a friend of mine who's an antique dealer keeps saying, I want to know where my road is. Well, in Kentucky, your road is whichever road is having a highway sale that weekend, and the spring and the fall, a lot of different roads across the state have highway sales, and this weekend we just got on the far end of the 400-mile sale, and that puts us at Highway 25. Highway 25 is the old highway that Highway 75, the Interstate, replaced, and we are going to follow the old Highway 25 today and see what we can find, because there's about 200 miles of sales throughout Kentucky, all the way down to the antique town of Clinton, Tennessee. And that's where we're headed. If we get there, we're going to just see how far we get. The Highway 25 sale, other than a few Craigslist ads, is not specific as to where things are. They just say the towns that are participating. So we're just going to freestyle it and see what's out there. So this is it. Our first stop is at Renfrow Valley. Renfrow Valley is a very famous place because they have giant music events here. It is one of the centers of country music. They have a huge old barn where they do dances. They have all these old homes and homesteads, like the 1817 Peasley Hyatt homestead right here. What a neat building, and a perfect place to be selling antiques and vintage, I hope. So let's see what they've got here. Back here we have a Treasure Craft pig cookie jar from the late 70s. Let's take a look at his condition. Oh, his hat's been repaired, too bad. I wonder if there's anything in the house. I'm going to take a look in there if they'll let us. Sonia Henney pleasure skates in the box. She was such a big deal. 3-time Olympic champion. She did movies for Fox. She was from Norway and quite a skater in her day. We've got some older furniture here, so maybe some of the stuff in the booth will be older as well. Oh. Someone's off to a bad start. Decoupage and disco. What more could you want? Colorama art plaques. Well, that is definitely iconic from an era, but I don't know that anyone would hang it now. These are the old style made in Brooklyn. This is what mailboxes look like until probably the 70s. Well, our first purchase, we got our feet wet. And actually, we're literally getting our feet wet because there's still dew point on the ground. And I think I might be in luck because a lot of folks, this is the first day of this sale. The 400 sale starts Thursday. The Highway 25 sale starts Friday. So I may be the first one here. A major feature at Renfrow Valley, of course, is the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame and Museum, which I'll have to catch sometime because in addition to bluegrass, which Kentucky is of course known as the home of, there are many famous country and western musicians from Kentucky, everybody from Loretta Lynn to Ernest Tubb. So this is a very important place psychically as well as in terms of being a tourist destination in the heart of Kentucky. Well, this is the next place that looks like it's got enough stuff to have maybe some of my stuff. We'll see. Old sailing ship model is neat, but I think it's a pretty new one. Some wood miniatures on this table. In fact, a lot of wood miniatures. Looks like somebody was making these. Old school desk there.
Handmade by Arnold Fish in Berea, Kentucky.
They're neat. These are all made by hand, and they're made by a guy right here locally, Arnold Fish, Berea, Kentucky. I don't know if he's still producing this or if these are old things. But if you have the right size doll, some of these are pretty neat and very rustic. $10 for that little set. I think that's cute. $3 for this one with the woven yarn for the rushing. This one with the hourglass spats and this one with the open spats. They're all pretty cute.
Dated 89, he signed a lot of.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it says right on the bottom. Oh, that's
Yeah.
neat. And so these are about 30, 40 years old. Wow, that's pretty cool.
At least.
Oh, one of these puzzle ones where they cut the ring around it.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know how they did that. How you say they did that?
I think that's neat too. Yeah, I don't. That's,
It ain't been glued or nothing.
no, I think they had to carve it as one piece. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm going to get some of this stuff. I'm going to take a look. This is a great story. Thank you. My favorite thing about this display is as you walk by and the shelf turns a little bit, all the rockers start going. Oh, I like the fact that these are vintage and the fact that they have the guy's name and that there's a story behind him and that he's from Berea, which is known for Kentucky folk art and craft work. So everything about these just says, yeah, go ahead and try them. This guy was producing 30 and 40 years ago, so it's not like it's turn of the century primitives, but I'm really happy with this little collection. I love getting to tell stories. This guy has an interesting story. He ran a body shop here in Berea, and he did the woodworking on the side and did it all by hand. No forms, no kits. I think it's pretty cool. People donate old stuff to churches, so we'll see if there's anything interesting in here for us. Here we've got a little bit of jewelry on the old Baldwin organ here. I don't see anything old. Grace Anatomy, Alice of the World. You just don't know what you're going to find at a church sale. Sometimes they're really great. I have found some amazing things for very little money. This is to benefit the United Methodist Children's Home and for Western Kentucky tornado relief, which, oh, we still have some problems out there, so that's very kind of them. Let's see what's on this table. Ooh, I see a lot of Italian ceramics, and these prices look great. Lots of Italian ceramics that somebody apparently was tired of, but I think some of these look pretty good. Well, I got a whole box full, so that's a good start to the morning. I mainly bought Italian ceramics. One of them was marked Raymore. It wasn't a huge significant piece, but that's a great name, and the other three were just fun. And then on top here we have one of these Balanoff tin items from the early 1980s, where they were trying to make them look old-fashioned. There never was a kitchen-made brand that was made since 1863, but there's a tin that says there was, made in about 1983, and now people are collecting these. And by throwing everything willy-nilly in the van, I'm almost guaranteeing I'm going to find something really great that will make me rearrange everything, but that'll be fine. All right, here's another church with some sales going on in their parking lot, so we're going to check this out. The nice thing is sometimes you can just do a drive-by and they seem like very nice, friendly people, but they don't have anything I'm looking for. We are pulling into a really fantastic town in Kentucky that a lot of people may have heard of, because this is Berea, and Berea is a folk art center in Kentucky that's probably unparalleled. It is the place that seems to have accumulated artisans and artists. There is an antique mall here. We are expecting to see yard sales as well. Well, we're going to make this left turn here because I see a sign that says 322 Oak Street is having an estate sale. We found the estate sale. It's a nice old brick house behind a gate. I see even the Escalade is for sale. Oh yes, the familiar thing. I've run many estate sales with old lawnmowers where we try desperately to get them to start. Let's see what's inside. That's Napco ware made to look Italian. One of these interesting 1950s blonde bedroom sets. A couple old sewing machine heads, neat old stand-up floor model right here. But I've got a couple of those for sale, so I'm not really looking for any more right now. I get the feeling this might be a place that some old guy lived, but look at all the strawberry. I think that is that early 80s strawberry pattern from Japan. We sold a bunch of this at an estate sale in Portland. Yes, it's called Strawberries and Cream.
There are some collectors. This is a different pattern, also Japanese. And maybe up here, that looks like it's actually pretty recent, but I see some strawberry jam pots up here. Sometimes when you see something where you see a motif, it pays to keep digging because you're going to find different stuff from different eras, and we've got a neat screen print picture with strawberries here. I think this is my favorite piece so far. Okay, this is one of those trivets. It's just the clear, but it seems to be in good shape, and it's only $2, and the people who collect these like these to put their Fire King on top of. There's the logo in the middle there. So this is for your Fire King dishes, and for $2, I'll take it. And here's one of these Afghans with the flowers that come out in a dimension. All handmade. I know this one's older, it's $10. It's very synthetic feeling, which I don't necessarily love, but you know, it's Afghans, that's the era. I think it's still worth getting. Well, let's see, we're out in the garage. I got the Afghan, that ended up being my purchase inside. Interesting the way they've got these all set up. Oh, I see, they just took part off the bench. Lots of useful old tools. I don't see anything that's real collectible in terms of old tools. This all looks like good stuff for people to use. Other than this gas can here, there's not a whole lot that might be reseller. They have a red jerry can here too, but I think it's more recent because it's got all this information on it. So once they start warning you about everything, you know that that's generally a newer piece. In the old days, you just took your chances. Well, this was a family-run estate, so I know that this Afghan was made by Mary Van Winkle here in Berea, Kentucky. It is a great town that built up around a university. The Berea College was started in 1855, and the reason they started it here at the foothills of the Appalachians is because before the Civil War and during the Civil War, Appalachia was not pro-Confederacy. They did not have a plantation economy, and that's why the university was put here. Very pretty campus, and Berea was started not only to be coeducational and multiracial in 1855, but it also is a place where you work in order to go to school. No matter whether you had lots of money or very little money, you are expected to work in exchange for your education. In 1909, they needed a new dining hall, and they opened this place, the Boone Tavern Hotel at Berea College. It is a very famous hotel now. It's a wonderful old hotel, and we're going to spend just a minute walking into it because it is a special place. It covers the entire block now. It has really expanded. It has various Kentucky folk craft and artistry. Some of the galleries are in the bottom of the hotel. So let's go in and look just quickly. Here we are in the lobby, which has a very gracious feel. This is the woman who really got this started. Nellie Frost was the wife of the Berea College president, and after she hosted 300 guests in her home one summer, she said, "We really need to build a guest house." They are still focused primarily on students from Appalachia to help them have a leg up. People with great promise and limited economic resources. It's a pretty great mission. And it's a very famous place because of it. It has developed a really wonderful little town around it as a result. Part of the reason Berea is such a natural place to be a craft center here in Kentucky is that it is a place where homemade things and handmade things were always done because we are near Appalachia and people made for themselves what they needed. The Bybee pottery was in this area not far from here for almost 200 years. You see here on the right, we have the Appalachian Fireside Gallery. We have Peacecraft, there's the Log House Craft Gallery. There are a lot of artisans and crafters and people who make things here. The work and learn ethos of the university has absolutely translated into a thriving Appalachian craft center here. So it's a really neat town. It's actually recently been listed as one of the best places to retire in small town America. Looks like a big sale on the right, so let's check this out. This one's too far from the road for me to just go by and not actually drive in.
Now this looks like a lot of clothes. The Highway 127 sale, the grandfather of all these highway sales, it's very specific about not selling a bunch of old clothes because they don't really go very well. And it looks like that's pretty much all there is here. I thought I saw some smalls from a distance, but I do not. And I don't have a nose that tells me there's going to be any vintage clothes here either, so I don't think this is my place. So there are some neat old chairs. Look at the shapes of these. These are a form of Empire revival with the veneer from about 1860, 1870, I would say. Here is a bunch of people assembled in one place, and that's what I look for. So we're going to turn in here. I guess we just drive on the grass. I don't want to be a jerk. I think I'll go around it. I like this garage already. It's got a Lincoln Continental and a Corvette in the back. Now, when I see a guy who has this cool garage with an old phone booth and gas pumps and a couple of Corvettes, I have a feeling this place may not be cheap, but they're having a garage sale and you just never know. Wow, he's got some great stuff in his office. I'm sure this is not for sale. This looks like a collection. All these old electric clocks, these are awesome. I'll take all of them. But I think the sale's in here, actually. Oh yes, Ray Dunn. Fenton pieces. They're just basic milk glass, but they're nice quality, and you know, the prices are right considering that I have Fenton folks out there. However, this is kind of corroded. That makes a difference. But I think I'll get the pedestal.
I believe that is Fenton.
I agree with you. I think it is too.
See, I'm Lola.
Lola. Hi, Lola. Oh, you'd like to smell me first, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Aw. I have a friend who has a dog that would love you. Exactly. Oh, yeah.
See, I know who likes me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lola, you're very
Where's
cute.
my baby?
Like the old barber chairs, those are neat. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Lucky Draft, that's from my part of the country. I saw that, yeah, I see a Dodge Charger back there and a 68. Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, oh, I see a lot of cool things. I'm displaying my new acquisition in Fenton milk glass in an old phone booth. A telephone booth very similar to this saved my life when I was a 4-year-old. My mother and I were chased by a rabid dog. This was before she knew how to drive, and she got her driver's license after that. We were able to get into a telephone booth, and I remember it leaping, foaming at the mouth while she had the door. This one doesn't have its door anymore, but she barricaded herself against the door while this thing growled and barked and foamed at the mouth, and then it was distracted by something else and away it ran. So, thank you, telephone booth. $10 seems like a pretty good price, but it's hard to tell the vintage on these. I mean, it's pretty pocked, so it wasn't an expensive, high-quality one. Somebody at some point took the time to paint this one, which, while I'm not a fan, it does tell me that it had enough time to be painted, so I don't think it's brand new. It definitely looks like something that would sell. These guys seem newer to me because you've got bad mold lines across the face. That's just not good quality at all. Well, on closer inspection, that hen is also new. I saw the big mold lines across it as well. If I'm looking for garden concrete, I really want something that shows its age because that's my customer. $50 for the 3-piece club set. Club is collectible. It's something that I personally stay away from it unless it's in perfect condition. He married her for better or worse. This is going to be Japanese from the 1950s. You can tell just by the silliness of it. Very stained from the better over the years. This would have had a juicer originally. It's unfortunate that that's gone because this is 1930s, probably made in Czechoslovakia. Gosh, I know it'd be cute just as a little teapot or covered creamer, but it's not what it really was. Meadow green, one of the less widely collected patterns, but you'll see a familiar name on the bottom because it is Fire King, 1970s. Moving heavy things. I can tell you a few things about that. This guy is a late 60s Hasbro doll, but isn't he sort of Chucky-ish? A lot of local spots open up or rent out their place, or somebody knows somebody, so they open up for this. So we're going into the Lion's Den. Past a 70s silhouette print. I just ran into somebody who I am following on Whatnot, and he is a Whatnot seller, and you go by Motoglow.
Motoglow.
Cool.
Yep.
Tell me a little about what you like to sell.
Mainly what I sell is vintage and modern t-shirts. You know, like tie-dye shirts, kind of like what I've got. I do breaks on sports cards. I do Pokemon breaks. I sell Pokemon cards. I sell essentially everything. I'm not a collector, which should be great to you all. And
that means us resellers can buy stuff too, and collectors.
I buy things on the low, guys. I don't spend, I don't pay retail anywhere close to retail price.
Well, that's why we're on the highway sale, right?
Yes, we're going down a yard sale down this road that is basically several hundred miles worth of yard sales.
Yeah, how much of it have you covered?
We have extra large. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're literally
I know. Every 5 minutes you're stopping. Well, what's that? Well, what's that? Yeah, exactly.
So we're literally just in our backyard, guys. But check me out on Instagram, Motoglow Whatnot on Instagram. It's all about a network. It's all about making connections, and it's all about the people that you know, guys. So.
Yeah. Well, that is sort of what life should be about, right?
Yeah.
Wow, well, that's really fun. I met someone who is another online seller, social media seller, and knew me from YouTube, so that was really cool. It sounds like he's more into the more modern vintage, but he taught me a couple of things in there. He mentioned breaks, which is where they're breaking open these old baseball and sports card boxes that have sat unopened for 30 years that we all are just sick of looking at and have had no value. And they're selling them in lots as a grab bag, and once in a while the people who are willing to pick through it are getting something really good, so it's turning into the new mystery box, and that's how they're unloading those things. So a new way of selling an item that we have had trouble selling in the recent past.
This place says it's the Gibson Auction, and apparently if you get a lot you can rent a U-Haul. It's not open for auction today, but they are having a sale inside, so maybe there's some old stuff. If it's an auction facility, there's always a chance. I've hit some sales like this before at places that sold at auction, and they actually had some things to sell. We'll see. Mostly new stuff, but here's some older glass. Fenton shoes. I wonder how inexpensive these might be. Jocelyn at Crazy Lamp Lady was nice enough to mention that I had done a TikTok about these, but I think some of you who don't know how to access TikTok didn't get to see. The reason we know that these are Fenton and not some Taiwanese or other offshore from the time, which is 1980s primarily on these, in these colors, well 60s, 70s, 80s really, is because they're finished well on the bottom. They're polished on the edges. You don't see a bunch of this rippling going over into the rest of the glass. They don't have big nasty mold seams either. This one has the label on it, so that makes that one easy. But you can see that they're fire polished and that it's better quality, especially the older pieces. The Outbank is pretty cool, late 70s. Chalkware. They're almost always chipped like this guy. If you have the glass eyes, I'd have to have them. You think the Goodwill bins have a lot of stuff? Well, these are dollar bins, so dive in. I think I won't. Remember when people would have paid a whole lot more than $1 for that.
Well, that was a reasonable price, and she sold me the whole group of 8 for $40, so $5 a piece. Would you have gotten them cheaper in a thrift store? I don't think nowadays you would.
This might be the first piece of modernist furniture I've really seen on this trip, and I rather like it. It's art moderne, it's almost brutalist, it folds open, it could be used as a bar. I'm sure that's what it was originally. Oh yes. You can open one drawer too. It has an interior little place here for Yeah, drawers built in. I have a feeling someone made this. There were a lot of kit books around 1950 about how you could make furniture. And I have to say, even though this obviously needs... Hey, good. How are you doing? Even though this needs cleaning up.
$40 on the bar.
40 bucks?
And I think as old as I am, I was at my grandparents' house since they built it back in 1971.
Wow. 71?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I
So
don't know that it was there in 71, but there's pictures of me as an infant when they were building the house.
Uh-huh.
And I don't ever remember not being there. That's the one thing I take out of the house.
Do you think someone in your family made it?
No, because I've seen that before.
Ah, okay. Very good.
I saw one at Goodwill that was tore all over the head.
Oh, interesting. Cool. Thank you. I'm interested. I don't know if I can fit it. I'm going to take a look. This tray is really cool. Losing the silvering a little, otherwise I'd take that. It's a great color. And I like this bowl. This looks Scandinavian. It doesn't have a signature. I've seen this before. It's cased clear. See how it's clear on one side and orange on the other? So it's cased glass. There's a clear outer layer over the orange, but your eye just sees the orange unless you look at it just so to learn its secret. It's neat that this guy brought stuff down from up north because I'm seeing a few different things, including this figure here. He's not terribly well defined, and I think he's chalkware rather than spelter. He's only $5, and he is rather old, and he is very heavy. Without family, oh, it's very sad. This early 70s Sunbeam Mixmaster is in pretty good condition. The only thing is people's hands on the dial ended up wearing them, but otherwise it looks like it's clean as a whistle. I'm sure it still works great. Some 80s Pyrex with the blue florals. Peach pie. This might be by Crooksville Pottery. Let's take a look. Oh no, this is when this started being made in Korea. Mid-80s, that's pretty much the death of most of the American dinnerware makers. Well, what a nice piece of bittersweet colored glass for $3. Very happy about that price. I'm George the Antique Nomad. Check me out on the social media that you see in the links in the description. Please check out my live channel, the Antique Nomad Live. And also, if you are interested in supporting the channel with memberships, you can see more about that by clicking the join button below or the link in the description. Thanks so much for coming along. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.